Hello and welcome to today's presentation on the top 7 tips for business owners, for personal trainers, and for people looking to make their business more resilient. So what I might do is I might just prop that up a small little bit. That's on record. Pause that. Okay, guys, welcome to today's presentation on the top 7 tips to boost your personal training and your gym business. Now, hopefully now I see people logging in. So what I'll do is I'll go straight into the presentation and we will get cracking. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is there are so many business courses out there, so many mentors and courses and books in relation to this topic. And sometimes I find that there's a bit of a disconnect with where this business voice is coming from and the application or how applicable it is to people actually in the industry. So let me just break down a few small little tips. One of the things I would say is I do have a new modified strongman training coaching certification, which I'm getting some really good feedback from the guys that have signed up to it. So if you are looking for more information, that would be on the website. Because this topic is so big, and actually I've talked a lot about this to Seamus Fox, and Seamus actually has a course coming up on the 10th to the 14th of May, and I'm going to be speaking at that, and a few other really good lecturers are going to be speaking. Seamus himself, Dr. John Martini, and so many other guys. So if you find this information relevant, I would suggest that you actually join that event and you get some more insight. So the more feedback you get from different people, the more vantage point you have, I think the more usable you can find the information. So what I would say is, when I used to do these presentations, I had a guy who would assess me, do my presentations. And one of the things he said to me he says, you need to build a bit of a rapport with the people that are going to be listening to you. So they can link to you, they can resonate with you, they can sort of say that you're on the same level. So we're all coming at things from different points of view. Whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a gym owner, whether you're a chiropractor, whether you're a group training guy, whether you're a boot camp guy, this business of selling health, fitness, and well-being is all very similar to certain components. So for me, I've had the advantage of being a very young manager, but I was a young manager of a club called Westwood, which was and still is one of the biggest clubs. It's the biggest club in Ireland, and at the time I walked in, it was the biggest club in Europe. So with a young guy looking after 10,500 members, we had 7 studios. We had 78 spin bikes in our studio. It was a monster of a gym. We had 7 indoor tennis courts, 50-meter swim pool. It was a huge, huge facility. But what I got to learn from that, and this was the 3rd gym I actually walked in, but I was part of the management team. And one of the things that I learned from it is their focus was on getting more members in, because we're losing members at a very fast pace. Now, if your business model is based on trying to get more people in, you're going to fight a losing battle. Why not focus on the client that you actually have, about giving a better service, heightening up your staff, increasing your customer service, increasing every touch point of a member that comes into the facility, rather than not looking after them when they come in and just try to concentrate on more people coming in. So when you're a gym owner, we'll talk a lot about that, but there's a lot of key things you can do to not only make your business more resilient, but more flexible, to be able to adapt to the constant current changing environment. Another thing that I did, and this is more from an S&C point of view, I got a job to work with the Paralympic athletes for nearly 8 years, and it was around the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And if you're an S&C coach and you get thrown into coaching people with physical disabilities, your whole mindset has to change. Your whole programming, your periodization, your exercise selection, your sets and rep and tempo, your coaching skills, your actual presence when you're coaching people, your spotting techniques all have to change. And when you're exposed to different types of people, when you're exposed to different types of businesses, you become a bit more educated and wise on what type of selections that you would give for these people. So again, I'm just trying to illustrate the different areas I've come from. This is the Irish Strength Institute. I'm actually in one at the moment in Malahide. I set up the Irish Strength Institute back in 2004 with John Connor, and the goal was to build a facility that we could use all the education that we were learning by all the seminars that we were running, but we felt restricted in the facilities that we were in. So we built our facilities around the clientele that we wanted to attract, where a lot of people build facilities in different ways. So if you are a gym owner, does your facility match the clientele that you're looking for? Or do you even know what clientele you're looking for in the first place? Then I went off and I did a lot of study with Charles Poliquin, and I was lucky enough to present and lecture all over the world with coaches that were developing their own gyms, that were doing something very similar. So I learned firsthand from working with these coaches, building their gyms, building their marketing team, building their promotion, building their teams on what works and what doesn't work. And I've been fortunate enough to deal with a lot of coaches over the last 15 years in seeing their business evolve and seeing what areas they've gone into and what works in other countries and what works from an online point of view, what works from a one-to-one point of view. But I've been blessed enough to be able to get a lot of exposure, and I still have a great network of coaches that I work with and I mentor online. So this is where this information is coming from. Some of it will be super relevant to you, some of it may not be. This next component, back in 2010, is where I got more switched on to corporate wellness. So I had this client, he's actually Ireland's wealthiest guy. And what he said to me he said, you need to get in front of the people that are willing to pay you for what you can give. So what he's trying to say is get yourself in front of people that value what you have to say. So let's say you have an Olympic level athlete or a marathon runner. Your program, your nutrition, they will do it to the fine detail because they see a direct improvement in performance. So they'll invest money and time with you in order to get a set result. However, when it comes to the corporate wellness world, if you get someone to lower their absenteeism, if you get to increase the work-life balance, if you get to increase the interaction, the collaboration in a team, because people are more switched on, more focused, they're better managing their mood, they're managing their stress, they're managing their travel and their jet lag and their workload, it has a direct improvement and their actual performance. And I honestly feel as things move on more forward, and when it comes to wellness side of things, being a gym owner, being a nutritionist, being a coach, there's a huge market when it comes to corporate wellness world. People may not necessarily want to come to you for fitness all the time, or may not come to you for flexibility, but everybody eats, everybody's working. So we need to be able to help clients manage their workload, manage their stress, improve their sleep, improve the nutrition. That's one of the reasons why I opened my clinic. Not everybody is a gym guy or a gym girl. Not everyone's interested in coming to the gym and kicking their ass, but everybody eats. And people are progressing through life following a dietary habit that is not conducive to optimal health. And as Jeffrey Bland says, the absence of disease doesn't mean the presence of health. So I think for people out there, I think the corporate wellness world is something that may be something that you integrate into your practice, or you accommodate with the classes or the personal training, the group training you're doing. I've been doing it for the last, what now, 11 years with some great success. All my clients, pretty much from an executive point of view, are in the corporate world. So it makes 100% sense where you would offer your services to a business, to a corporation, where they would integrate that into their wellness programs. Even the health insurance systems over here, VHI and Leia, and these big organizations recognize the benefit of health and well-being nutrition, and they're integrating, discounts, and they're actually subsidizing a lot of it in their programs themselves. So from working in that field for a long time, I definitely feel it's a component or an avenue you guys should look into getting involved in. Next here, I've coached so many guys when it comes to strength and conditioning that want to work with athletes, and particularly Olympic level athletes. And I've been blessed enough to work with Paralympic athletes, but I've also worked with over 70 Olympic level athletes. And to my credit, I don't tell this to people a lot, but in the last Olympics in 2016, my athletes won 9 medals in total, which is the highest amount of medals any Irish coach has ever achieved in one sport, in one Olympics ever. So, and that's a huge credit to me, and I worked very hard to get that. But if your business model is towards Olympic level athletes, you need to take into consideration that there's a certain amount of time, there's a certain amount of revenue that can be generated from that. And I'm not saying that this is going to be something that I would suggest people go towards. I'm actually suggesting from the majority of people to steer away necessarily from strength and conditioning and go towards personal training and gym membership. It's a completely different field. I know personally friends of mine that work full-time in Premiership soccer teams in the IRFU, and the revenue from that and is not as good as you may think it is, and the amount of time that's put into this is huge. So from this talk today is going to be for personal trainers, gym owners and instructors, not necessarily for S&C coaches. I think it's nice to have that experience and wisdom and the credibility to be associated with winning Olympic medals and working with Olympic level athletes, but it doesn't necessarily cross over into revenue for you, revenue for your business, and help your business moving forward. I've also worked with Premiership soccer teams, and in this situation, I've worked as an outside consultant, which I think is a nice area. So if you are going to work with Olympic level athletes or pro athletes, as an outside consultant, you can bill for your hours, you can bill from an ongoing consultancy basis or retainer basis. So it's definitely something that people should look into. However, the reason why I put these two things in is that a lot of personal trainers out there, a lot of gym owners out there are building their gyms to train Olympic level athletes, or they're building their gyms to train Premiership soccer players or rugby players, where that may not necessarily be their market audience. So if Mary or Agnes or Barry or David walk in and they're from the corporate wellness world, well, then a gym that's more suited towards Olympic level athletes or professional sports people may not tick all the boxes that they want to be a member for a long period of time, or a happy environment for them to train in. I've trained a lot of international rugby players, and when I sit down with them, one of the benefits that I have from coaching these guys is that they give me the feedback, like the attention to detail, the personalized approach, that it's not a team approach, it's an approach for athlete A or athlete B or athlete C. So I think that the benefit of being able to work with athletes, and from a consultancy point of view, allows you the time, the expertise, and the focus to one athlete rather than a whole team, where a lot of these fitness coaches and strength coaches are restricted in time. Also, one of the things that I trained a few guys to climb Everest. Unfortunately, one of them passed away, unfortunately, on the climb down, on the last mission, or the last climb. But again, it's something, when people are coming to you as a gym owner, as a personal trainer, they have a certain goal. Their goal may be to climb Everest, and maybe to win an Olympic medal, and maybe to play better in rugby. But if you look at it, the majority of clients that are coming to you are looking to improve body composition. They're looking to improve fitness and well-being and flexibility. So we need to make sure that our education, our support, our coaching, our gym design, our program design, our support online, and our ongoing marketing is correlated to the people that we're looking to work for. Now, a number of years ago, in relation to Derby Training Systems, which is an educational company in Canada. It's called DTS Fitness Education, DTS Fitness Education. And from teaching for them for many years over in Canada, again, to these coaches that are developing gyms and working in gyms, particularly a gym chain called Good Life, which I think now, they took over a huge gym chain in New Zealand. They're the biggest gym chain in the world. But they run this fitness convention. It's actually the biggest fitness convention in the world. There's thousands of people go to this convention, huge big expo hall. And I've had the pleasure of speaking at their elite presentations and then their big conferences. And the feedback I get from this is that we need to know our niche. And we don't necessarily need to be the biggest expert in loads of different fields, but you need to know your niche. You need to have your business model to fill in the gap and to be shown to be someone that goes above and beyond to do that. And in this industry, when it comes to fitness and well-being and health and nutrition, it's about looking after your clients on an ongoing basis. It's not about followers. It's not about membership necessarily. If you're in the membership game, it's about keeping your members. It's about growing your brand. It's about looking after the people you have. Also, I'm the ambassador and the first certified sports nutritionist for an International Society of Sports Nutrition. And I think being aligned with organizations like this, you allow yourself to speak to top end professors who are dealing with, again, a lot of nutritionists that are in the trenches. So by association yourself with these organizations, with top level organizations like CanFitPro, like ISSN, you're allowing yourself to get reports and data about industry trends. And this is the thing, we need to have our finger on the pulse. We need to be listening to how the industry is changing, listen to how it's evolving, listen to what the retention rates for gym memberships are. There's a company here in Ireland called Deloitte, and 2017 and 2018, they issued a report on Irish gym memberships. And what they showed is the standard industry average in Europe is around 8 to 9% of the population were members of gyms. However, in Ireland, of that 8 to 9% of the membership of gyms, the majority of people, over 60% of the people, were members of smaller clubs, GAA clubs, CrossFit clubs, clubs like mine, one-to-one centers, performance centers. And the reason they put this down to is they wanted the attention to detail. And we don't necessarily have in Ireland as many big, huge gym chains as they would have in other places outside of Europe, particularly in America. But what that tells me, what that screams to me is, one, I think we need to do our research and our due diligence to see where our industry is going, the trend, the trajectories, and what the experts are saying, how things are going. But also that if people are going away from big gyms and going towards smaller gyms and paying one-to-one trainers 3 or 4 times a week, where they could get, like, for the price of training with one person trainer in Ireland is the average price that you pay for membership for a month. So the question is, why is somebody spending, doing 4 sessions a week, 4 weeks in a row? That's maybe 12 to 16 sessions, which is a whole annual membership to a gym, and not just pay to go to the gym and go on their own, because people want the care, people want the support, people want the results, and they want the experience. And by going and just paying your membership or having the key ring or the barcode on your key ring chain doesn't get you fitter, doesn't get you healthier, doesn't get you happier. But going to see a coach, going to do a class, going to see a CrossFit WOD, by being involved in these communities, these health communities, people stay members of gyms longer. And one of the things I was lucky enough to be involved in was some research when I was in Westwood. And again, the people that participated in group fitness classes, in particular in this industry, was Les Mills or BTS, which was body pump, body blast, spinning, and so on. But people that go to classes go to gyms more often than people that just go and aimlessly, go around the weight section, do a little bit of cardio. So when you're going to a class or you're going to see a trainer, you will go to the gym much more often. So by understanding these different components of the industry, we can then put together a business model that can be successful. And what I would say is, I have made so many mistakes in this industry. I've put money into equipment. I have a set of dumbbells here behind me that cost crazy amount of money. I had more Alico sets in my first gym than was ever sold in the whole of Ireland. Like, you go to the top Olympic training center in Ireland and we had more Olympic lifting equipment than they had, but we weren't training Olympic lifters. In my mind, I was building my facility to be able to train the top end athletes in the world, but I wasn't there yet. So I was like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. That's not how business works, let me tell you that. What you do is you build your expertise, you build your profile, you build your education, and every single person you deal with them as professionally and as excellent as possible, and you grow your reputation, you build your business from that point of view. And the last one there is the World Transplant Games. So as the facilities grew and as I got more exposure, I started to help out guys that were double lung transplants or liver transplants or kidney transplants. And by having these expertise from Olympic level athletes to boxers to MMA guys to Olympic wrestlers to soccer players to Agnes and Mary, you become better as a coach. But I think you become better as a chameleon. You suit your training, you suit your nutrition, you suit your business model for the people that you're looking after. And from educating coaches for years, one of the things I find is they want all work with athletes. But the athletes may not necessarily be the people that are going to pay their bills. People are going to pay their mortgage. People are going to keep the lights on in your facility. So we need to look back and take a step back and see the trajectory of our business. See what members on the team we have. See where our own strong links are and where our weak links are. See what we need to put on our team so our business can grow forward. And one of the biggest things, last week, I had the opportunity to speak with a friend of mine, Damien Marr, who's been involved in this industry for a very long time. He's actually over in Australia at the moment. And we had a good hour and a half chat about the evolution of business and how he's evolved with his business and what courses he's done and what stuff he's implemented. A friend of mine, Kevin Darby from Canada, he would say that the knowledge applied. So learning all this information that you can't deploy is useless. We need to take the information that is relevant to our business, relevant to where you are, relevant to your clients. So when I see strength coaches and experts and tutors and educators saying train with bands and train with chains and use sleds and do Olympic lifting, that's all well and good for their clients in their facility, in their location, for their business model, but that's not you. So you need to make sure that your business model, your training systems, your training tools, the layout, the design, the atmosphere, the colors, the equipment in your facility suit your business model. And then you have the flexibility and the understanding of your marketing and your growth of your business to be able to accommodate what's happening moving forward. But if you don't, and you're just building a gym because you want it to look fancy, well, then that's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. And the last one here is, I used to run a lot of seminars, live seminars. Obviously now we're not. I do most of my seminars now online with Own Lacy Education. But one of the things was, when we started to run, when I first built the Irish Strength Institute with John, we did it to bring experts over to Ireland. We brought them over so we could learn from these people. And that's what the Isolation Symposium was bringing experts into the country to help raise the standard of people, not only in Ireland, but in the UK and all around Europe. But what I found is, and I've done this research from all the people that have attended, we've talked to, we've done surveys, we found that these people are the top end. They're the top end people that are dealing with high end athletes and high end executives. But unfortunately, a large majority of the industry now are learning from people that are not necessarily in the trenches. And I think there's a lot can be learned from working in the industry. So if you design a diet, well, how many diets have you designed? How many one-to-one consultation nutrition have you done? If you haven't done, again, as Malcolm Gladwell says, over 10,000 hours of nutritional coaching, well, then you're not an expert there. But you could easily put an online diet on your Instagram account and have it downloaded 1,000 times, but you're not having that one-to-one care. And the longevity of that business model is going to be undermined by somebody else that has more followers and may pay for an advertisement or may be giving their stuff away for free. So when you understand that we need to refine our skill sets, and for me, when you get educated and you get qualified in this industry, it's just a license. It's a license to begin your journey for health and fitness to help people. One sweet doesn't give you a cavity. So one bad program, one bad nutritional food plan won't kill somebody, but over time, it may not necessarily be helping them. So the more you develop your skill set, the more you develop yourself as an expert, the more you can help people and the better your business model will be and more resilient will be moving forward. So let's get into what are the main divisions within this industry. We have our gym owners, and then we have our personal trainers. There's a lot of subdivisions in between that. So here we have freelance personal trainers, whether you're training in person, whether you're on Zoom or Teams, you're doing one-to-one, or you're doing semi-private training or group training. So there's a big trend over the last 4 years where one-to-one training was being pushed on one side, and people were saying, okay, instead of charging 60 or 50 euro an hour, I will have 4 or 5 people paying 25 an hour or 30 an hour, or whatever it may be. So my hourly rate is higher. The issue is, and I've no problem with that, and we do a very small amount of that, but the majority of what goes on the Irish Strength Institute here is one-to-one coaching. We do some small group training, maybe at the weekend, but the majority of our business, over 90% of our business, is one-to-one coaching. And that's why, because we want our attention to detail. All our facilities are private. There's no members walking around, so they're all private facilities. So we know that. And we know the age of our average client. We know the amount of money that we charge, which sort of pushes away from some section of the audience that may not have that disposable income. But if that's your business model, brilliant. But let's look at it. If it's all based on one trainer to one person or one trainer to 3 people, well, you can only earn X amount of hours a day when you're working. And then you need X amount of people. So if you put your plan together, the average personal trainer only really needs between 12 to 15 clients a week. The average PT client will train twice a week. That's the average in Ireland at the moment. So if you've got 15 clients, they're all training twice a week. That's 30 hours of billable hours. And then you get X amount of money for that. That's the standard of what most PTs will do. And most PTs that are in this industry, they classify themselves as full-time. They would need to be doing at least 80 sessions a month. That's the gold standard. It should be, again, above that. So you need to understand, is where you are, is it online? Is it virtual? Is it in a gym? Have you got that number of clientele to do that? And how long do you want to do that? And when you want to step away from doing, 10 hours in the gym floor or 7 hours in the gym floor, where are you going to move to? So are you on a team? Are you on your own? A lot of personal trainers, they're on their own. And I've seen this. I've had coaches come to me. We don't do it anymore. We did it in the past where we allowed trainers to rent from us in our facilities. And they were mainly friends of ours that were transitioning from other facilities. It wasn't something that we purposely went out to do. But let's say they were paying €1,000 a month, whatever it may be from a rental point of view. And I've seen the success of individuals to not have was able to be sustained because they're doing everything themselves. There's no one to pass over a client if you're away on holidays. There's no, can you get a client covered in the morning because I have to go to the parents teacher meeting, or maybe they don't even have kids yet. And that's another thing. As you evolve, I turned 40 a couple of months ago. And as you get a bit older, you start to realize, well, the kids and the holidays and the family events, and you're in the gym all the time. And in my opinion, as I still do quite a bit of personal training on a one-to-one basis, if my client wants to train at 10:30, 11:30, 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'll accommodate them. And the reason why I do that, and some trainers will say, no, don't accommodate them. My price point has been the highest in Ireland since 2007. So my hourly rate that I charge my clients is higher than other trainers would. And I only take on X amount of clients that I can look after. And when I say look after, I want to have that flexibility. They want to train an hour before, an hour later. They want to move a different day. I will accommodate them because they're paying a premium price. So I'll do that. For some of my staff in the gym, we don't like that. We have a strict regime that you have to stick to the timetable and so on. But there's a point in time where you can't charge anymore and you can't do any more sessions. So where is that business model going to go to? And that may not be something that you've thought about now, or maybe it is. Maybe now you can't get to a gym, that you're doing all your sessions online. Well, then maybe you're starting to reevaluate, well, what do I need to do now to sustain my business and make it more flexible moving forward? Should I join a team? Should I link up with some other people? Should I see an expert in nutrition? Or maybe I'll go and reach out to an osteopath who has a lot of people going in and out the door, and I can start doing some rehab or corrective exercise for them. Or maybe I'll link up with a physio, or maybe I'll go to the flotation company down the road that there's a lot of people. So we can start to, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but we want to make sure that our business isn't just one dimensional, that if all your eggs are in one basket, if shit hits the fan, it's going to be detrimental to your health, your business, your revenue. And then again, a lot of people will end up leaving the industry. The next thing we have here is gym owners. Our gym owners are operators. Where they're focusing on is membership. How many members can I get into the facility? What hourly rate am I going to charge trainers if they're going to rent from me? What other additional avenues can I make money if it's a coffee shop, a barber shop, a tanning place, whatever it may be? And for me, that's something that I got away from. I got away from that because there's so many moving parts. And I can guarantee you that when people join gyms, they join gyms for facilities. They don't join gyms necessarily for the staff. And because the staff turnover in a lot of these places is quite high. So you may go to a gym and be a member for a year. I can guarantee you the gym floor staff will turn over relatively fast. And if they don't, that's a unique environment, but maybe those people are looking after their staff. But the bigger the facilities, the more staff they have, the more the turnover. You're paying rent for the use of a gym. You're not paying for the service. But if you want to do a hybrid system, and I've seen a lot of guys do this very successfully, particularly in Canada, particularly in New Zealand, and where they have a joint hybrid system, where they have access to the facility to train on their own, but they do at least two training sessions with a PT during the week, 2 sessions a week, and it's included in their monthly membership. And that works very well because the guys in the gym are being overseen by somebody on the gym floor, and their coach is probably on the gym floor training somebody else, and that can work very well. If you're a gym owner, and if you're a trainer, then maybe you're in a situation where you're going up the ranks within your team, and then you're overseeing some junior trainers where your hourly rate is gone higher. So these are things that can happen if you're on a team, if you're in a facility, if you're in a company. But if you're on your own, that's not going to necessarily happen. Then we have the corporate wellness world. So for me, initially when I started in the corporate wellness world, I would go in, I would do this 90-minute presentation, keynote presentation. All the staff would be there, Microsoft or Bank of Ireland or AIB or some of these big companies. I'll get a big check for doing a presentation, and off I went. And that's all they wanted. They wanted a wellness consultant to come in once a year on their mindfulness week or their health initiative week, do the presentation, and off they go. Now, the reason why I stopped doing that is I didn't like it. I didn't think I was giving them the best service possible, because going in and just doing a keynote presentation will motivate people for a short period of time, but the results don't come on board. So then when I got asked to do more presentations, I said, well, tell you what I'll do. Instead of charging you this big fee for an hour presentation, why don't we break the presentation down into one presentation every Friday for the next 4 weeks, and thereby we're touching people more often, we're motivating them, we're giving them instructions, we're giving them tasks to do, and next week we're reviewing the questions, we're answering questions they may have, or challenges or case studies that they may have, so they're getting healthier. Then this went really well, and we'd ran 2 in Microsoft that were 17 weeks long. And we'd have a mindfulness guy come in, we'd have a yoga girl come in, she was phenomenal, and then we'd have cookery demonstrations. So we would go in, we would assess the business, what they were doing, the times, the challenges, what they've had, the staff. We'd interview the staff, we'd interview the HR department to find out what their challenges were. And then we put together a bespoke wellness system that was delivered over 17 weeks to allow them the time and the exposure to us from the corporate wellness team to help them along their journey. Now that could be a consultancy and that could be ongoing. So again, I feel this is a strong component of something that you could add in to your business model at the moment. And the last one here is, and I see this all the time, and I've been lucky enough to do this industry, to do this in my job, in this industry, education, where I reach out to people and I help them with their education, whether it be functional medicine, whether it be strongman training, whether it be um, semi-private training, periodization, UFC training, MMA guys, whatever it may be, and I'll help guys along it. And then presenting. If you can present your information in a usable, retainable, and applicable way, that's golden. That is golden. When you finish your presentation, someone will say, wow, I got something from that. I learned something from that. I taught a presentation in Arizona, and this guy was in the front of the audience, very nice guy, in great shape, a sprinter guy, and he had his own business in personal training. And I said to him, we don't want to follow the 5-2-0 principle. And he raised his hand and said, what's the 5-2-0 principle? I said, 5 days on, 2 days off, no results. He's like, oh my God, that's worth the whole team to come to the seminar. It's because that's what his clients were doing. They were training really hard during the week with him. They were going off it on the weekend. And then on Monday they come in, they're making no results, and he's racking his brain saying, what's going on? If your clients were to train 5 times a week, that only represents 2.9% of the week. So they're not going to get the results they need. So from a presenting point of view, it's about giving, it should be a student-centered learning experience, not a lecturer or a teacher-centered learning experience. And for me, it's all about active learning. It's about giving usable information that guys can implement in their business straight away. And it's about in a fun environment. It's about more of an interactive learning experience. And if anyone's been to any of my live seminars, you'll know that we get people involved. We're very interactive. There's a bit of gamification goes on there. We work on retention and retrieval of information. I spent years devoting time into slides and presentations, how fast I speak and how slow I speak and how animated I am, in order for people to get usable information. People can write books, they can do workshops, and now I see people doing a lot of influencing online, saying, well, this is the way to train, and this is not the way to train, and this is the way to do this technique, this isn't the way to do this technique. It all depends. And I know that's a bad thing to say, but it all depends. It depends on your age, it depends on your gender, it depends on your history rate, it depends on where you are from a metabolic point of view, from a hormonal point of view. It comes from what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. So from your genetic, from your genotype, from your phenotype. So for me, when people give these, dogmatic statements online, it's false. You can't give X, this is gonna work for everybody. It's not. It's a coaching, and I call it a health sat nav, that we know we need 2 things: our current destination, our current location, our destination, and then we're gonna move forward. And if we go off the track, we have coaching and performance reviews that get you back on track and moving forward. And that's the same for business. If what you're doing now isn't working, or what you're doing now can't work, well, what can we do? How can we sit back, review, and say, what can I do differently to move my business forward? And what is my final destination? And for me, it doesn't necessarily mean I need to be exactly here. Let's say you say I want to earn €100,000. And you know that to earn €100,000, you can't do that on one-to-one training. Maybe 20% of that will be from one-to-one training. Maybe 40% of that, maybe you're writing a book. Maybe it'll be doing a workshop. Maybe you'll be growing a team and having your team get 80% of that revenue in, and you oversee that. Maybe it's buy a facility, maybe it's rent a facility, maybe it's join a team, maybe it's rent from it can be a multitude of reasons, but we have to look back and have some destination of where we're going. And then if we're going off track, sit back, reevaluate where we are, change things and move forward. But we need to have that open mindset. We need to have that growth mindset. We need to be resilient enough to say, you know what, this isn't working. And as they say, fail fast. If something isn't working, you've done everything you can for it to work, but maybe you need to cut it off. I heard a great quote recently that there's only 2, we have to lose certain things as we get more successful. Time procrastinating, maybe nights out, maybe stuff like that. And there's, as he says, there's 30 seats on a bus. There's only 2 seats in a Ferrari. So as you get more successful, maybe you need to stop doing some of the things you're currently doing now. And that's something that we'll talk about, your ideal week. So once we have a plan, once we have a business model, once we have regular performance reviews, once we assess what area of work we're focusing on, or what area of the business we're focusing on, then we can see whether we're actually getting results or not. As my friend says, it's like, I say to him, how are you getting on, Shay? He says, I'm great. I'm like a duck going above the water. I'm nice and calm. Below the water, my feet are going like 90. So for me, I've made, unfortunately, a lot of errors in business growth, and I spent a lot of time doing stuff I probably shouldn't. I didn't learn aspects of the business that I probably should have in the past, but I was clever enough to align myself with guys that were experts in those fields, but I had to pay them. And now, as it evolves over the last 10, 15 years, I've upskilled myself in these areas so I understand that I can communicate with them. I can do a percentage of their work, but I still won't be doing my accounts. I still won't be doing my websites. I'll have people involved in that, but I'll have the know-how to change things. I'll have to know how to do better accounting. I'll know how to do better marketing and team building and leadership. So as we evolve through this field, once we know what component or what avenue we're involved in, then we build a team, a robust team, a resilient team, so we can successfully continuously move forward. So what a lot of people focus on in this industry from a gym point of view is exercises, the technique, the sets, the bars, the plates, the cardio machines, the music, the rest intervals. That's not it. That's not how you make a business resilient moving forward. When you go to a restaurant, you could walk into a restaurant, a brilliant restaurant, the waiter be brilliant. The table was set up correctly. The lighting was lovely. The temperature, the cutlery, everything was perfect. And then you went to the bathroom and the bathroom was dirty. You wouldn't like that experience. In this industry, it's about the experience, not necessarily about the best program possible. The best program is a program that your client's going to do. The understanding of plyometrics and Olympic lifting will not be the breaking point of your business being successful or not being successful. Depends on your niche of the market. So for me, there's different areas that we need to focus on. And unfortunately, I know so many coaches that are phenomenal coaches, but are not successful in business. To the same degree, I know a lot of coaches that are very successful, but they are nowhere near the same level of coaching that other people could provide. So for me, then, you either learn the skill set you need to be competent and proficient from a business point of view, or you consult in, you link in, you join a team, you bring an expert in to help you, or a business mentor along that line. So for me, team building is crucial. We need to build a team. Is it a team of personal trainers? Is it a team from marketing? Is it a team from promotion or leadership or accounts? Who knows? We need to look at your body from a point of view of we need to be balanced in the body. Front to back, up, down, range of motion, flexibility, fitness, strength, and so on. The same with business. Your business could be the best gym in the country, but if people don't know you're there, if people don't know what you offer, they don't know how much you charge, don't like the experience, well, then that isn't enough. We need to build a team so you can, whatever facet of the business you're in, that people know about you. So I hear guys doing Google ads, but they don't have Google Analytics set up. I see guys doing Facebook ads themselves, but they've done it themselves where they haven't learned and they don't even have Facebook pixels set up on their pages. So when you start a strategic plan, reach out to somebody the same way you just didn't take anatomy out of your own head. You researched it. You went to the experts in the fields. You looked up strength and conditioning. You looked up periodization. We need to strengthen all links of the chain. Now, either you learn that yourself or you add people to your team. If you can't add them to the team because you haven't got the finances, well, then lean on them. Say, okay, well, let's book you for 2 or 3 hours. Let me learn what I need to learn and outsource to you what I can't do myself so I can move my business forward. Marketing. Is your marketing aligned with your business model? Does it align with your mission statement? Have you got a mission statement? Do you know what your business is going to do? And these are things that when I got put in the spot by these business guys, I was like, I don't have the answer. I don't know what it is. How much money do you want to earn on? I don't know. Well, what are we doing here? So there's a certain time where we have to step back and say, I need to step up from a trainer point of view, from a nutritionist point of view, from a gym owner point of view, and set these goals, set these marks that we can look back and say things worked or didn't work. But if you're drifting, there was a great book by Napoleon Hill, and he talks about outwitting the devil. And one of the things that people do is they drift. And if you're drifting, and if you're not, I'm not saying you have to be 100% on it every single day, but you kind of have to be. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're self-employed, if this is your business, you need to be on it. Not every single day, but the majority of the time you need to be focused on building your business, building it from a client point of view, from a retention point of view, from a growth point of view, from an education point of view. Just the start of this year, I got a notification off Audible that I reached over 550 books on Audible, and that's in the last 10 years. That's 55 books a year. Now, what I would do is I would listen to books in the car, I'd listen to books when I'm on planes, I'd listen to books when I'm training or doing cardio in particular. But what I would do is I just got that into a habit of doing it. So I'm learning all these different things in books. So we need to put habits in place that will grow our business moving forward. But we need to check ourselves sometimes. We need to step back and have an honest conversation saying, what age am I now? What am I going to do moving forward? Have I got people around me that I can lean on? Have I got a team I can create, or a team I can join? What is the top facility? Is there anyone out there doing what I want to do? Can I go and listen to them, or talk to them, or mentor them? Or what we used to do is have a brain picking fee. I've paid 2,000 euros to have a brain picking fee off certain experts out there. And the information I got from them was worth 10 times what I paid, because they've made so many mistakes in that field. Now, if you go and speak to someone that's an expert in that field, they will go on to town. They have so much information about that field. You'll be nearly telling them to shut up half the way through. But this is really valuable information. But only pay for these sessions, only pay for these mentors, only pay for these business coaches if you're open-minded enough and open-eared to listen to them and implement it. Other than, if you're not going to do that, well, then it's a waste of time for you. And one of the biggest things that shows you that you're not doing that is that your business is going down. You're losing clients. You're not generating more revenue. You're being overwhelmed by bills because you haven't got things aligned. Don't be naive enough to think that you should know everything. Align yourself with experts. Then I talk about leadership and management. I've been in, and again, the more you get into the corporate wellness world, the more you see this, the leadership, the what they call the standard operation procedures. Everyone knows what they need to do. I like to think of it. I have a friend of mine, Neve, and she plays rugby. She's stepped back now. But when you're playing rugby or playing soccer, everyone has a role. Everyone has a task or an area that they need to focus on. And if we're not addressing those areas, or someone isn't pulling their weight, it's hugely noticeable. And in the corporate world, if things aren't being done, there's accountability. But in our business, sometimes, not the best service for your client. You know, the gym wasn't up to standard. The session wasn't good. The class wasn't good. The boot camp wasn't well set up. Someone came late. The cones weren't set up. If it's a team, you weren't vocal enough, you weren't clear in your instruction, the music wasn't good, the lighting wasn't good, the equipment didn't turn up, there wasn't different dumbbells. We need to make sure that everything is done. And I have a number of courses on this, whether it comes to group training or one-to-one training. It's up to you to get the best experience possible. I like to think of like a Michelin star training session, a Michelin star experience. When you walk into any facility, there's multiple touch points, from the car parking, from the car park attendant, to the receptionist, to the changing rooms, to the toilets, to the gym, to the music, to the staff, to the uniform, to the lights. Everything is going to cause an experience for your client. And if it isn't to the highest level, over time you will lose them. And if you haven't heard of these things before, or you haven't focused on them, well, these are things that we need to work on. Every email, every text message, every email you send out to a client when it comes to maybe late fees or your contracts, it has to be excellent. There has to be a next level to it. If it's just thrown together, over time, that business won't be able to sustain, because there's other business that will focus on that. And we need strategic planning. What is our plan for this week? What's our plan for next month? What's our objective to hit in the next quarter? And having these systems in place and having the accountability of the team, and then building a team. If you're paying an accountant to do your accounts in, you should expect them to be put in time, that you're not getting a letter from revenue saying the accounts haven't been put in. You're paying someone for that, but you're building a team so you can do that in your business. And then we review. As we know, stuff always goes wrong. We don't always hit the marks that we want to set. But why didn't we? Well, what helped us get as far as we got? Why didn't we get any further? And what can we do differently? Be open-minded. And if you're like that with your staff, you're like that with your team, you're going to build an environment that they relish these reviews, because it allows them to progress moving forward. But dodging meetings and not turning up and being half-arsed in a meeting and not contributing won't allow your team to grow. It won't allow the business to grow. And over time, your contribution to the team may not be warranted and you might get the sack. So again, these are components I really feel that coaches and gym owners need to focus a bit more on. So we all have one thing in common. We all have one thing, whether you're listening from Hong Kong, Sweden, New Zealand, we've all got one thing in common, is we all only have 24 hours of the day. And when we talk about the ROI, it's called the return of investment. We only can invest time. That's really all we can invest in. People say, well, I'm going to invest this amount of money and this amount of money. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, we all only have 24 hours in a day. So this is going to be the talk I'm going to do for Seamus. So I'm not going to spend too long on this concept, but we have our 8-hour work week, our 8-hour day. We have our 8 hours to ourselves, and then we have our 8 hours sleep. That's pretty much it, is what we have in every single day. And how we allocate, how we compartmentalize, how we focus. And our focus is key here. When you sleep right, how productive you are in those other 16 hours a day, it can be next level. We all know if we've had poor sleep, our focus, our training, our diet, our concentration, our creativity, our collaboration is all compromised. So for me, and this is something I'm going to talk about on Seamus' talk, not today, because I want to cover the other points, but this is it. Our return of investment. We're investing your time into your business, into your education, into your work, into you, into your family, into your friends. But if you're not focusing on time, and if you're in the moment and not in the moment, and this is the E-Myth. The E-Myth is a great book. I strongly suggest you get it, from Michael Gerber. And what he says in it, you either work in your business or on your business. And if you're a trainer, you're doing both. If you're a personal trainer on your own, you're doing both. But sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. And for a short period of time, that can be good. For a long period of time, if you don't have an exit plan, and one of the things I've dealt a lot with a lot of my professional athletes, they may be coming to the end of their career, but what do they do next? What's the next business venture? And they haven't put systems in place, from an education point of view, from a money point of view, from, building networks and teams and associates that they can do stuff like that. Well, then what's going to happen when they retire? They're going to go do lally with all this free time and they don't have the same revenue coming in. So there's a multitude of things that can go on from that point of view. But coaches, gym owners, think about when you're investing time, when you're allocating time to your team meetings, to your clients, to your business, to your education, are you fully focused? Is there a plan? Is there a system? Are you getting the maximum return from that investment? And I say to people all the time, clients mainly, I said, can you give me 45 minutes every day to eat food? 3 15-minute meals. Can you do that? No, Owen, I'm too busy. I've got this meeting, I've that meeting. Well, let me ask you a question. If you woke up in the morning, you got dressed, and you're about to leave the door, and you're trying to pull the front door, and it won't close. The lock is completely broken, and you can't lock your house. What are you going to do? Excuse me. We're going to get it fixed. Why? I can't leave the house unlocked. I can't leave my front door open to my house. Well, why have you got time to do that, but you don't have time to eat food for 15 minutes 3 times a day? That's a priority. Oh, it's a priority. So what happens is when things are focused and they're priority, people start getting moving. So we need to know in what direction we're moving forward with our investment in time. If you're investing 4 hours a night into Netflix, do you think that's going to bring your business model forward or backwards or sideways or lengthways? We need to know where we're moving forward. So the investment in our time is the focus. And that's why during this lockdown, I asked people, what are you doing? Oh, I can't train my clients. Well, what are you doing with this all the time you have? Are you studying? Are you educating? Are you stretching yourself? Are you stretching your mind, your business model? Are you linking areas of the chain that were weak before that now could be super strong? Are you building websites or writing books or blogs or vlogs or PDF for handout clients? What are you doing? What are you investing your time in right now? Hopefully, the fact you're listening to me is investing your time into maybe looking at things differently. And I don't want you to look at things the way I look at them. I want you to look at them with maybe a different point of view than you were before. And if all I do today is that, I'll be super happy. So from a one-to-one point of view, it's fairly straightforward. How long do you want to do it for? What are you going to charge? Are you doing the best job possible? And I would ask you a question. The last session you did, whether it be a one-to-one session, whether it be you training 2 or 3 people, was it an excellent session? Was it the best session you could possibly do? And I'd strongly suggest that there's areas that you could do better. Maybe I could have been more clean shaven, or maybe I could have, I was a bit, my runners were dirty, the gym wasn't set up, I sort of haphazard wrote the program on the board, I didn't know what I was doing, the music wasn't appropriate. I once had this new song, WAP, came on when I was training a client, it was 65. That's not good. So stuff like the attention to detail above and beyond, we need to go further. So knowing what your business model is, whether it be one-to-one, whether it be semi-private, or maybe it's membership. Well, what can your gym do that's different to somebody else? Like, listen to your clients. And I can't stress this enough. Feedback from your current clients is the best business advice you're going to get. Feedback from your current client is the best business information you're going to get. Why? Because they know you. And if you don't feel happy enough to ask them, maybe send them a survey monkey, maybe have somebody from the outside do it, or maybe you even have a secret shop come in and get training from your facility or with you, and then them have a report to give you some feedback about it. Because we all think we're great. We all think we're great, but there's always areas we can improve. For me, when I get super excited, I talk super fast. But the benefit here now is that you're listening to this. You can slow this down to 0.5. You can speed this up if you want to listen to me faster or whatever it may be. You can pause, you can rewind. That's why I love this. That's why I like these webinars. And I see this from a positive point of view. Yes, I love presenting in front of people and having the crack and having the fun and networking and meeting like-minded people. But with this avenue, I put this out. It goes on Instagram, it goes on Facebook, it goes on YouTube, and multiple people can benefit from the information. And then if I can't help them, they can reach out to me. But sometimes in a seminar, you may not have that set up. And the last one here is online training. Now, for me, online training is something that I don't particularly, from a personal training point of view, I don't really like, but I do know there's technologies now when it comes to equipment and Peloton and, stimulation machines, which are going to be really revolution to the industry. I think when it comes to online training, assessing heart rate and HRV and stimulation, I really think the industry is going to change when it comes to this. But are you flexible enough and robust enough to be able to, when that market hits, that you can surf that wave? Because if you haven't spent time on educating yourself in that field and building yourself up to be an excellent coach, if you're an excellent coach, no matter what team you slot into, you can add value to that team and they can add value to you. If you want to move to a facility, I was chatting to a friend of mine who was the head of a number of gym chains over in Saudi Arabia, and the platform that he's built for his staff is next level. The investment in money, in education, in self-training, in team building, in business acumen is phenomenal. And they're out there. There's gyms out there, there's clubs out there, there's facilities, there's institutes, there's academies that you can get involved in and help grow your business. And it's not all about you. A lot of people that have been successful in business haven't done it on their own. So don't necessarily think there's going to be on your own. You have to do it. And lucky enough, and I can pretty much say a lot of your clients that you're dealing with now are very successful in their own right. They're successful from a barrister, a solicitor, or an accountant, or whatever sort of job, a doctor, whatever job they have disposable money to pay for you. Most personal trainers I see couldn't afford to pay for a trainer themselves. So when you're talking to these business guys on a daily basis, when I might say guys, I'm saying guys and girls, that you have a great ability to learn from them, to maybe pick their brain to a small degree if they're open to that, and maybe bring them for coffee and ask them how they could grow the business, because they have two things going for them. One, they're successful in their own business in their own right, and second of all, they're a customer of you. So their feedback is very unique in relation to what they can do to help you move your business forward. So that being said, tip number one, what am I now? I'm 52 minutes in. I'm only on tip number one. Tip number one is we need to build personas. Personas are people, no matter what business model you're in, one-to-one, semi-private, membership, or you're on online training, we need to know what clientele you're looking for. And that will mean your marketing, your leadership, building your team, your hours, what business model are going to suit the clientele you have. So all your growing of your marketing or your leadership or your strategic planning has to be focused off your avatars. What age are your ideal clients? What's their location? Are they online? Or do they live in the area of the gym? Do they pass by the gym? Do they have car park spaces? What type of training do they want? What goals do they want? Do they want one-to-one training? Do they want semi-private training? Want to train once a week, twice a week? So when you can do a focus group, you do a brainstorming on your personas and avatars, then you'll know that what you're doing is going to move you forward. If you know, and as a friend of mine says, "Oh, all my business is over 50s. I only train people over 50. I don't necessarily market, say I'm training you over 50, but that's how he sets up his facility for that. I've got other facilities. Other friends of mine have facilities that only train women. Do they say they only train women? No, but they've built their gym and their coaches and their setup, and that really resonate and attract female clients. Then I have other people that only do semi-private training, as in 6 people, half-hour sessions, and they're gone. And they like that atmosphere. They like that, and people can actually go to that class on a pay-as-you-go basis because they see a trainer a few times a week. But they've built their business model around that. So it's vitally important that we do our personas and our avatars. And that's based off the psychology of your client, the demographic of the client, and the psychographic of the client. We'll all know that most of our clients may have fancy cars or multiple holidays and they have X, Y, and Z. So then you can start to profile your clients. That's what these marketing people do. They profile your clients, they list down the audience to make sure that it's specific advertisement to your avatar in your niche for your service to get yourself out there. And this is the thing that we need to know. If you don't know your avatar or personas, I strongly suggest you do it. Second thing is Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong the worst possible time. Now, do I need to say any more with the situation we're in at the moment? Knowing that the shit can hit the fan at any point will allow you to say, you know what, things can go wrong, but what's my fallback? And if you know what can go wrong, you can anticipate. You can build up a plan B if things don't go right. Well, if this client doesn't come or this marketing campaign doesn't work, I'm flexible enough to do something else. But don't hold all your bags in one corner, particularly when it comes to even hiring someone to do marketing. If you want someone to come in and do marketing, maybe you interview 3 or 4 people. And then when these people come in, interview all the references and find out the people that have worked with them, if they're credible and they're successful in what they do. The same way, if you build a team and your whole business is on your 4 trainers and 2 of them leave or one gets sick, well, what's going to happen? Well, we need to have a contingency plan, but not having a plan is you're planning to fail. So we need to make sure Murphy's Law. Next one. Here we have the touch points. So the touch points are when you see a client, from a text message to an email, to a car park, to entry to the gym, to the training session, to the virtual introduction or invite to the Zoom consultation, or what equipment they have at home, or the food diary you send them, or the questionnaire you send them, or the feedback, or the instructions, or the post consultation email, or the feedback after the class, or it's the heart rate monitor if they're doing a HIIT class. Every touch point has to be focused on, because it just takes one person to come into the gym, they get onto the machine, it's all sweaty from somebody else, which we can't have now anymore, ever. But the attention to detail has to step up. Focus. Imagine you are your client and go through what all the touch points would be that they would have with your facility, from a text message to a confirmation of the session, to cancellation of the session, to payment, to non-payment, every possible avenue that could go on, and make sure we have a system in place for that. And if you have a system in place for that, it'll mean that it will happen more and more and more and more. But if it's haphazard, if it's not structured, if one trainer does one thing, another trainer does another thing, there's always going to be inter-training or difference from a motivation point of view, from a coaching, from an instruction point of view. And hopefully as a head coach, you'll have a certain level of standard in your facilities. However, there is personal difference. There always will be. But that doesn't mean one trainer is late and one trainer is early. Well, you're early is the only thing you can be. On time. That's it. Early is on time. How you structure the session, how you motivate your clients. If you give them a water or towel or music or lights or whatever it may be, you need to standardize all the touch points so they're excellent. It's not good enough just to go at it and get feedback. Clients are really open-minded. They really are. And I honestly say, if you say to your clients, is there anything that I could do differently to help the service we're giving you? Is there any more that I could do to help you when you come to the facility? Is there any more that my gym could do for you? And then if you do that, they'll tell you, and they'll tell you their problems and questions. And then if you fulfill these, you listen to them, you heed them, and you make the modifications, they're more inclined to say, you know what? I've been giving out to this gym around the corner because they open at 6:30. Why open at 6:30 when they know everybody needs to train at 6 o'clock in the morning? So they never listened. But I come down here, I say, oh, can I train at 6 o'clock? You say yes. I say, oh, can I train at 5:30? You said yes. So you're accommodating towards your clients. And if they see you listen, that's when they'll refer. And that's when it grows and grows and grows. But listen to the feedback, get it regularly, and listen and implement the interventions that will solve the problems. So this was done from FedEx. So FedEx did what's called the horror hierarchy, where they said the top 9 things that could go wrong. So what could go wrong? So list all the worst things that could go wrong. A client doesn't turn up, cancels, then you have to have the awkward question whether they pay or not pay, or your staff doesn't turn up for a session, or the gym was untidy, or there was an email for double bill, all the possible things that could go wrong. And then put in place procedures so that doesn't happen. So you're trying to make it as hard as possible, as difficult as possible for things to go horribly wrong. They do go wrong. Things go wrong all the time. But if we list down all the things, the list of hierarchy of horrors that could go wrong, we can identify and we can notify with them. Listen, it was a 5 o'clock session. My trainer fell it out. Well, what's the second step? The second step is that you notify this number, and then we can get another trainer out to you in 20, 15 minutes, and then we have a trainer on call. But we find out the horror hierarchy. Next one, I'm going to make sure that'll be the best thing on time. Excellence. So I have this client, he's the wealthiest client in Ireland. I don't see him too much anymore, but I did the consultation, I did the training session with him in the gym. And then after the session, his PA said to me, "Oh, was that an excellent session?" I was like, "Jenny, yeah, it was good." He said, "No, was it excellent?" And I said, "No, it wasn't excellent." And from here on out, I asked this question to other coaches. Well, what could you do to make it excellent? Let's give it a scale of 1 to 10, and you can't pick 7. What number was it? It was a 6. Well, what would make it a 10? Well, maybe if I did this or did this or did this. But this is the thing. Every training session you do, every presentation you do, every Zoom consultation you do, every group fitness class you do, every member that comes into the gym, we can learn from them and we can up our game. And honestly, people are very open-minded. If they see someone trying, to get better and get better and get better. If you say to somebody at the end of the session, is there anything I could do to make the session more enjoyable for you? They say, take away the prowler runs at the end. I'm not saying that, but there's always areas that we can step up. Music, lighting, equipment, emails, confirmation. Is it a situation where we could go above and beyond? So we need to make sure that our business, our focus, our details is on being excellent. And unfortunately, a lot of people focus on purely the technical component. Weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Is that our market? Is that our personas? Is that avatars? What's going to make my client leave the gym saying, "I did a session with Owen in the gym. It's great. We did, we did 50 minutes of lifting weights, and then we did a little boxing at the end." They leaving on a high. We want to make sure that the experience, the whole experience of coming to your facility is next level. And unfortunately, guys are focused on the reps and teps and sets and tempo and heart rate and so on. Yes, I see that. And I know these key performance indicators are important, but it's the experience of the client, experience of the athlete. It's the growth and it's the resilience of the business that will maintain you moving forward, being profitable and grow your business. Now, because excellence is such a broad thing, I've broken them down into the next one. 5A. Well, what else? What else could you do besides being excellent? What more could you do? And as a great quote is, the extra mile is never busy. Going above and beyond with somebody. Is it a situation where you say to a client, "I think you're dehydrated. I think you're not drinking enough water," and you've talked about it. Well, maybe the next session they come in, "Here's a bottle of water and here's some electrolytes that I want you to have next week." Wow, that's nice. I had one client that constantly was eating out every day. He had out for lunch and breakfast every single day. So I rang his PA. I found out where he went for breakfast and where he went for lunch. Now, believe it or not, only 2 places he would go for breakfast, and it was 8 places that he would go for lunch, depending on which office he was in the city centre. So I went to all these places. I spoke to the manager, and I got a list of their menu, and then I was put onto a CC list that every time the menu was changed, I would get a list of it. So what I did was I made a list of what he should have or what I would recommend for breakfast in both places, and what he should have for lunch in the 8 to 9 places, and I sent it on to him. So it was a no-brainer, and he's like, "Wow, it's phenomenal." Then he spends another guy. He spends a lot of time over in the Hamptons, and he has a coach over there. So I get in contact with this coach. I introduce him and say, "Look, it'd be nice if we could align our programs together so we could complement it from a periodization point of view." And I did that with his approval. So then he's continuous care from when he's away and when he's here. So what else can you do? Can you give your clients t-shirts, an app, make their life easier? They're coming to see you for accountability. They're coming to see you for service. Step it up. See what else you can do, because I guarantee you there's something else you can do. Maybe you find out that they're a golfer, and maybe you get a golf pass or an invite to a different course for them. And these guys are paying a lot of money. So this attention to detail, this level of excellence, this level of supporting them and giving them more than ever before, that's what happens. You walk into a Michelin star restaurant and you sit down, they come over and say, "Hello, Mr. Lacey, welcome back. Will we have this Florida wine that you like?" Oh, Jesus, how does he know that? They made notes the last time I was there. This is what I drank. This is where I sat. Did I enjoy the meal the last time? And that attention to detail that will get you coming back and coming back. It's not necessarily the money, it's the service. Next, what we have is due diligence. And this is one thing that one of the components that I really, and this goes to every facet of the business. do your research. Do your research. See what areas we can improve on. Learn from what other guys have done successfully. Learn from their mistakes. This trial and error business, I think we're so open to, oh, we have to be great at everything. You can't be great at everything, but align yourself with people that do the research for you. Find out if you're going to open a gym somewhere, how many gyms are in the area. Look up Google, look up Facebook, find out the areas of and what clientele go there. What are the age demographic? What are they doing classes one-to-one? What's the business model? Have you got a business that's going to be online, one-to-one, semi-private training classes? What are your opening hours? How are you going to distinguish yourself from somebody else? So no matter what you're doing, do your research. Do your research, do your business plans, sit down with someone, develop your niche, hit your numbers, know what your targets are, know what your revenue is going to be, but building it and doing it as you go is not an ideal. And I say to my wife, she's a hairdresser, and she's often asked about maybe opening a salon. Her dad has a salon. And I said to her, you're great at a hairdresser. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at doing a business. So we sat down, we penciled out all the business model components that she would have to fulfill. And she's like, that's not what I want to be. I don't want to do all that admin. That's not what I want to be. But then open your own salon may not be something that you should go down the line. But what a lot of trainers do is they're successful as a trainer. They say, okay, I'm going to open my own facility and get my own staff. They're still training people. They're trying to manage a facility, manage staff, grow their business, do all their marketing. And they spend all this money on equipment and put themselves in a hole where they haven't built the chain. They haven't built a team to help like a cohesive, team moving forward with a mission statement, with people they can lean on, with performance reviews, with a strategic plan. I'm going to wrap it up now in a few minutes. Guys, bear with me. We need to invest in you. So investing in you, looking after you, growing your education so you can have these meetings, have these, like even there recently, I did a course on just how to conduct meetings, the language, where people are seated, the minute taking, how many people should ideally be at a meeting and what's the agenda and the structure. So there's whatever you want to learn, it's out there to learn. One thing I really like is LinkedIn Learning. It's a great website to constantly upskill yourself when it comes to a business point of view, from finances to accounts to, to administration to leadership to managerial skills. There's tons of courses out there. Invest in you and invest in your team. And once your team see them evolve and grow in the rank or the ladder within their business, they'll stay with you. But if you don't invest in you don't invest in the team, they will speak to you with their feet and they'll leave. So the success and the growth of your business relies on the team performance. And I honestly believe that building a team, building a friendship, or building a team that's accountable, that people know their roles, they have the performance reviews, they get looked after when they do well, and they get supported when they have areas to improve on. Regular feedback, regular communication, constant growth, evolution, focus, leadership, and management. Manage your clients, look after them, and the same goes with your staff. That's what will make your business more resilient. And then the last one there is get a mentor. And this doesn't have to be one mentor, it can be multiple mentors. But any person I've ever dealt with, any book you've ever read, they'll always lend you to go to a mentor. And the reason why I don't necessarily like these books, these motivation books are very good, but then you close the book, you put it down, and you don't implement it. If you had someone that you had to be accountable to, like if you're going to say to clients that you do better with a coach, how are you not going to do better in business if you have a coach? If you have someone you can bounce ideas off, if you've got someone that has multiple years experience in multiple business, and business is not going to say all business is the same, but if you have someone that's an expert and has been in the business world for a long time, their feedback, their communication, their meetings, their accountability, their referrals or network people they can link you with will be invaluable to your business. Now, just because you're a trainer doesn't mean you should go off and be a mentor. I'm saying a mentor, it could be anything from anyone. It could be an accountant, it could be anyone, a doctor, but somebody that you can bounce business ideas off, that has business acumen, this business experience, that's done well in this industry, whether it be from an education point of view. So online, I do a lot of coaching for guys. When it comes to business, they bounce ideas off me. I don't necessarily tell them what to do, but we build a plan together. But it's the accountability. That's what they want. And it's not every week, it's every month. But there's loads of guys out there, and Seamus Fox being one of them that's phenomenally well on that. And Noel Smith, he does quite a lot of stuff on Facebook marketing. But there is people out there in your field that you can lean on to help you support moving forward. One thing I would say is, and I'm going to put this in, a small plug, The modified strongman training course, I love it because it allows you to do a one-to-one training. It's designed for semi-private training. It's designed for boot camp and for teams. So when I was putting together a course, I was saying, what course could I put together? I could put one for MMA or Olympic lifting or powerlifting. Well, the niches are too small. But if you use strongman training, you can train people outdoors, which may be more required in the future moving forward. It could be one-to-one. It could be people of different levels of strength, different levels of abilities. It could be 6 people and one coach, could be one coach and one team. And if you're skilled in strongman training, and with the strongman training certification, there's a course on program design, corrective exercise, and how to coach sessions. On top of that, when we reopen, we're going to have a live seminar covering strongman training in these facilities, and then we're involved in the coaches community. And what I've done is I've extended my discount of 75% off this whole course while this lockdown is going on. So if you want to invest in your team, invest in yourself, check it out. The link is in my bio on Instagram. And I'll leave you with one last thing, that moving forward, team building and networking is crucial. And one thing I found a lot of when I taught the powerlifting courses for many years, and these guys have built their own facilities and they've built chains of these facilities. And one of the things, when we're all training together, you link, you get a network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2-day camps where people come, we train 3 times a day, we provide all the food, we network, we train, we go through different programs, it's not a presentation seminar. This is an education seminar. This is 2 days of training 3 times a day, eating, chilling out, relaxing, and networking. And one of the things I found from our Algarve retreats, which we'll be running next year as well, and the powerlifting seminars that I ran, building alliances, meeting people from all over the world. You can network with these guys and learn. And that's one of the things that my focus is, to bring this industry together. Let's lean on each other. Let's lean off each other. Let's help each other in this industry, because it is a great industry, but we need to focus our attention on much more than just the actual lifting weights all the time. So I hope you found the information helpful. I do hope you value the content. If you have any questions, or if you can tag me on Instagram and help me grow the network, it'd be much appreciated. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for your attention, and take care.